Today I thought it would be fun to share with you guys my collection of Nintendo Switch games that I have the physical release of. That includes some games I've played on this channel already and some that I hope to play in the future at some time. Alright, first off we've got here the HD remaster of Final Fantasy X and X-2. Now I have played Final Fantasy X on the channel, and way back in the day, I had it on PS2. Never played X-2 though, I need to change that. Paper Mario and the Origami King, I actually have not played this yet. From what it looked like to me, it looked like this game was going to go back a little bit more towards the original Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Not entirely back to that style of gameplay, but more in line with it. I can't really decide whether I want to wait and save this one for later, or if I should go ahead and play it instead of maybe like waiting to play Thousand Year Door. Mario Party Superstars. Now, it's a Switch Mario Party game. These aren't my favorites of the Mario Party series, but I think they're still pretty fun. I believe this one was the second one they released and not the first one. I think the other one came before this one, but I think there were some improvements to the second game. It's been a while since I played it. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Haven't played this one yet, though I did pick it up for pretty cheap. I think it was half off at the time I got it. It's still kind of hard to believe that this is how they brought Rayman back. Next up, Luigi's Mansion 3, and that's like 4 different games with Mario in it, back to back to back. Now, I have played a little bit of this one. I didn't get very far into it, and just kind of dropped it and didn't go back. But I would love to, at some point, if timing can align properly, to do this for like Halloween one year. Finally, we got something without Mario in it. Digimon Cyber Sleuth, the complete edition. I think this was supposed to be like 2 separate Digimon games, and then they combined them together or something. Digimon games are kind of wonky. None of them are really all that similar. Even like the Digimon World series, each one plays completely differently than the previous one. I know there's a ton of Digivolutions in this game. I'm really excited to eventually play it. Super Smash Brothers! Ultimate. Yeah, you really can't have a Switch and have not picked up Smash at this point. I mean, what is there to say about Smash that hasn't been said? It's legendary. Probably one of the greatest fighting game rosters of all time. I doubt we'll ever see something surpass this that isn't just another version of this at some point with more characters added to it. I know MVC2 just came back, and people are getting their hopes up for what a potential MVC4 could be, but I would put this game even over MVC2's roster. As great as that roster is, it's just better. And here we've got Pokemon Legends Arceus. I really wish that the gameplay style of Arceus had become the standard going forward. If they could find a way to sort of marry the main series games with the Legend series and just carry over certain elements of both, I think you could get people interested in Pokemon again. Going from playing the main series games where you have to be very careful not to KO a Pokemon and then just spamming Pokeballs at it until the capture rate decides to play out in your favor, it's very boring compared to actually dodging moves and trying not to die in Arceus. I would much prefer to dodge moves and just throw a ball over and over again. The original Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This one really was a surprise. I don't think anybody expected a game like this, but I had a lot of fun with this one. The Donkey Kong DLC was a little weird, but I enjoy the character interactions in this game a lot. I've already shown you guys Sparks of Hope, but at some point I'm going to play that, and if it's half as fun as this is, then that should be a really good time. Here's the other Switch Mario Party, Super Mario Party. Now, in my opinion, I think the Mario Party games were probably at their best on the Nintendo 64, although I really liked Mario Party 4 for the GameCube too. But I think as long as you can find a group of friends to actually play with, any of the Mario Party games should be a lot of fun. This game has been one that I've been looking forward to a lot and just haven't played it yet. Pikmin 4. I'll be very interested to see just how dangerous nighttime is in this game, because usually in the Pikmin games, once night falls, the planet becomes hostile and you just go into the atmosphere and wait for the sun to come back up. Not in this game. And you get a Pikmin doggy friend. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, of course, from the Wii U, but they've crammed a whole separate game into this thing, basically, with all the DLC courses. I can't help but wonder if it was actually like a cost-cutting thing as to why they decided to just expand Mario Kart 8 instead of making an entirely new game for the Switch. There is no Switch exclusive Mario Kart. This is the Mario Kart for that console. But I have to say, it's a fun game. It really is. And all the courses, I think almost every course from the Nintendo 64 Mario Kart, which was my favorite Mario Kart, most of those are here. And you can play them in full HD glory. Yeah, if you haven't played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, go pick it up. Now here's a set that's a little bit different. Clubhouse Games, 51 Worldwide Classics. Now this, of course, is a collection of classic games like chess, checkers, and what we can't legally call Connect 4. Several of these games I've played physically, Chinese checkers, or just anything like that. But there are a few on here that I had no idea about, like Nine Men's Morris, that I became really obsessed with, especially during that time I had COVID and couldn't go anywhere. But then there's some unexpected type games, like there's a little fishing game that you can play. And there's a tank battle game that reminds me a lot of one of the mini games from an older Mario Party game. So there's a little bit of everything in here, and plus a little extra. Next up is one of the rarest games in the world. Kidding, it's Super Mario 3D All-Stars. You remember the whole debacle over this, where they decided to delist the digital version of this collection? Still a stupid move. And they had said this was going to be like a limited time release. You can find these in any game store today still. There are plenty of physical copies of this game out there. It is not hard to find. The handling of this collection aside, it's still 3 of the top video games anybody can ever play. It's 3D Mario. What else can you say? And of course, everybody knows at this point that one of my top 2 favorite games of all time, Mario 64. There it is. I had to buy it. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. Yeah, they got everything on here from the old Turtles arcade games to even the Game Boy games are on here. Really cool set. I've shown you guys my arcade 1-up TMNT cabinet that's over here to the side. I wish there was a way I could mod this into the cabinet itself and just have all the Turtles games on one cabinet. But the problem is that that first generation of Turtles cabinet is a bit harder to mod, and I don't want to risk screwing the cabinet up. So I guess I'm just going to have to be stuck with playing this on the Switch until I can find another solution. Next up, we've got a wonderful little game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Now, I made the mistake of playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii for this channel right before this game came out. And I feel like getting right out of one 2D Mario game and then jumping into this one maybe affected my experience with it a little bit. Don't get me wrong though, I love this game. It's great, it's super fun. The changes that they made and just the atmosphere of the game, and even the talking flower is very amusing. It doesn't get old to listen to. The power-ups are fun and they're unique, and you never know exactly what's coming next. You guys know how much I love Mario in general, but to be honest, this is a very good game, and if you haven't played it yet, you really should. Now, I'm not sure how you'll feel about the next game, but I was actually very impressed with the graphics of it at the time because I had never seen anything like this before. And that is the first Octopath Traveler. Now, I have not beaten this game, and it's been quite a while since I fired it up, but the 3D backgrounds with the 2D pixel characters really was something that I was very impressed with, and I just had to check this game out. And this style of mixing 2D character sprites with 3D worlds has become a lot more common nowadays, with even the Dragon Quest series getting on board for its re-releases of its older titles. I definitely want to play this on the channel at some point, if for no other reason than just to show off the beauty of the art style in this game. So look forward to that at some point. Now here's a game that I'm actually considering placing side by side with Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario 64 as a third of my favorite games of all time, and that is Super Mario Odyssey. I've said this before, but I feel like Odyssey is the true sequel to Super Mario 64. None of the other Mario games feel as close to that one as this one does. And Super Mario 64 just blew me away with a full 3D Mario running around. It felt magical and it just felt like a special game. This right here gave me close to that same feeling. I don't know why, but it always felt to me like there should have been more in this game though. Like there should have been some kind of additional DLC with new levels, but that just never happened. I really thought we were going to see Super Mario Odyssey 2 at some point, but Nintendo did not do. Another game I haven't played yet, but it just looks absolutely gorgeous. Sea of Stars. Everything I've seen of this game, it won me over on the art style alone. I love these more modern games that stick with the 2D pixel graphics because they're not bound by the same limitations as games used to be back in the day. You can go all out with these things now, and doing pixel art is no longer something that you are constrained by. It's a choice now, and people are making these things look really, really good. This is another game that I'm really excited to play on the channel eventually, just haven't had the time to work it into my schedule. Would you believe me if I had another Mario game in my collection? Mario Tennis Aces. Now I've played two other Mario Tennis games. The one from the Nintendo 64, which I thought was really fun, and then the Virtual Boy game, which was called Mario's Tennis. So, a little bit different. Now, this game actually comes with a story mode, in which Luigi gets possessed by an evil tennis racket. And no, I'm not making that up. This is probably one of those games that it's funner to play with other people, as opposed to just playing the single player mode. So, if you've got some friends out there, I sure hope you do. Call them up and play some Mario Tennis Aces with them. The circle of life always circles back around in this not-so-new world that gives us the bare necessities of Disney classic games. And I'm talking, of course, about the Disney classic games Aladdin and the Lion King. Now, originally, this was all this was. It was just the Aladdin and the Lion King, and I think some Game Boy versions of those two games. But sometime later, they actually updated this game and added the Capcom Aladdin game from the Super Nintendo to the set, and even the Jungle Book games from the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. So, they got a big update. I think this particular version of the game, though, without the additions, is not available anymore. I think they delisted it from online stores, and now only the upgraded version exists. Which, I guess that's fine, since technically the upgraded version is just this with more stuff. But, yeah, I guess we have something now that you can't get anymore. Here's another game I haven't played, Sonic Frontiers. I feel kind of bad that I haven't really dedicated that much attention to 3D Sonic games. I love the 2D Sonic games a lot, but I don't know, Sonic Adventure DX just... It wasn't horrible, but it just didn't strike me as impressive in the same way that I would have felt about Mario 64 or Sunshine would have. But I have heard good things about it, so I'm looking forward to whenever I can eventually start running this game and share that with all you guys. Well, here's an interesting game. I don't know why you would make one like this, but Sonic Team Racing. I've never really understood why you would need to have a Sonic racing game where he's driving a car, because he can run faster than the car. I mean, I get it. It's to be a Mario Kart-esque game filled with just Sega characters. Okay, I understand. Nickelodeon did the same thing. I've only played this a little bit, though. I would love to spend a little more time with this before I actually, try to delve in and make videos about it. We all need some calamity in our lives. Age of Calamity, to be exact. Now, I kind of wanted to say that Breath of the Wild, Age of Calamity, and Tears of the Kingdom are sort of a trilogy series, but this game's storyline erases the Tears of the Kingdom continuity. And it's sort of a strange game. Just view this story as a what-if of sorts. Don't take it too seriously, and I think you might enjoy it. The mysteries of Area Zero in Pokemon Scarlet. I was mostly very obsessed with the Paradox Pokemon in Area Zero, and wanting to have an explanation for how these Paradox creatures existed, and what exactly this Area Zero was. The DLC for this, I think, was mostly good, but I feel like they dropped the ball with the big reveals for Area Zero and the underdepths and the way that they incorporated Terapagos into the story as the big final villain. And I think they could have done a better story for that, or maybe have separated Kieran and Terapagos into two different stories. So I think in the next generation, if you want to do a massive overworld, throw some dungeons in there aside of just having one being Area Zero, the final area. Throw some mini dungeons or tunnels that you can go down and navigate. Make them really big so that people can get lost down there and just be stuck exploring, but that way the exploring is fun. And put things down there that are there to be found. Just stick them in these dungeons and let people go down there and find them and discover them first. If you want people to explore your overworld, give them a reward for doing that. Here's a game I was really excited about and have not played yet. SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake. This was probably intended to be a proper sequel game to the re-released, rehydrated version of Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I played that as well. The upgrades to that were great. The characters look so much better, and that was just such a huge surprise that they were going to remake Battle for Bikini Bottom, and then we get this. So they were clearly testing the waters to see if people wanted to play a 3D platformer SpongeBob game again, and I'm guessing this sold well enough that they went ahead and made the Patrick video game that's coming out at some point. The reveal trailer for this thing had so many references to those early seasons of SpongeBob, which are generally speaking considered the best era of SpongeBob. Those first 3 or so seasons, they are gold, and I will repeatedly tell anyone, some of the funniest cartoons I've ever seen in my life. Early SpongeBob is easily just as hilarious as classic Looney Tunes stuff. I swear, if you've not watched any of that golden SpongeBob, do it now. Get off of this video. Go watch some good old SpongeBob. But yeah, I want to play this game on the channel at some point. Going backwards with the Pikmin, with Pikmin 3 Deluxe, a game I actually have played on the Wii U, just not the deluxe part, but this is a very good game. I've said before, I loved the first Pikmin game. Pikmin 2, not quite so much. I didn't hate Pikmin 2, but it just felt like whatever, that special survival element that was in the first game, I don't remember it was like really a big deal in the second game. You were doing more of a job in the second game as opposed to just trying to make it to the next day. So yeah, this is another game that I would highly recommend. If you don't have a Wii U and you don't have that version of the game, but you do have a Switch, pick this one up. This next game is one that I've been wanting to go back to for a while and just have not had the chance. But it's impressed me so far, and I really hope I can finish it on the channel at some point. Astral Chain. I'm actually really surprised that Sakurai did not put the Akira twins into Smash. Like, if you'd have asked me who the most likely characters were to make it into the DLC of Smash, I'd have said these two. Visually, gorgeous game, and I've had a lot of fun with what little I played of it, and at some point, I'm going to force myself to play this game again because I really, really want to. We're back to Mario again with Super Mario Maker 2. Now, the problem with Mario Maker 2 is that the gamepad for the Wii U was just a much better tool to use to make levels. The gamepad made designing levels in the first Mario Maker so easy. And no matter how hard I tried to enjoy doing it on the Switch, it just did not feel the same. But what they did do is add so many more elements that you could add to levels, like all of the Koopalings and Boom Boom. So now you didn't just have Bowser Jr. and Bowser as mini-boss and boss respectively. You could actually mix things up a bit now. And then in one of the last updates for the game, they give you the ability to string together a bunch of mini-maps and place different levels you've made onto the map in a certain order so that you can play through them like an old 2D Mario game. You literally can just build your own entire complete 2D Super Mario Bros. Game with this game. I really think that if you could just figure out a way to make making levels a little bit easier, since you don't have the Wii U gamepad anymore, fix that problem, and I think Mario Maker 3 would just do wonderful sales for these guys. It should come as no surprise that this next game was a Christmas present. The Grinch Christmas Adventures. It's a Grinch game. I'd imagine this is mostly aimed at people who are more familiar with the Illuminations Grinch film, as opposed to How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the old Chuck Jones short that's decades old now. And I mean, it goes without saying that ain't Jim Carrey either. So I would say if maybe you're looking for a little time killer for the kids around Christmas time, and you know that they like the Grinch shorts or movies or whatever, then you could probably pick this one up. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on it though. Speaking of spending a lot of money, next up we have the only $70 base Switch game, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I really liked Breath of the Wild for what it was, and the way it made Zelda feel big and important, but really mysterious at the same time. And I loved exploring Hyrule and seeing all the little hidden stuff around that world. It was a lot of fun. I wasn't sure how they would handle taking that old Hyrule and just sort of tweaking it some. I thought it might be a little bit too repetitive, but it actually isn't. It did not feel like retreading through Breath of the Wild when I played this game. Now, I don't know if you've not played Breath of the Wild, if maybe it would be a good idea for you to play that game before you play this game, but you decide. They're both great games. And lo and behold, what's next in the stack that I've got over here beside me to pull from? It's Breath of the Wild! With Tears of the Kingdom, we already kind of knew what to expect, but jumping into Breath of the Wild for the first time and just seeing how massive Hyrule really was, and all of the mysterious wonders there were to explore in that world, that was something special. I knew I loved this game the very first time I saw one of those divine dragons flying over Lake Hylia. I had no idea that a creature that massive was in the game like that, and I was actually just about to shut the game down when I noticed it, and I had to get a closer view. It blew my mind that something that big was in the game. If that $70 tag on Tears of the Kingdom is maybe just a little bit too high for you, and you'd rather go with the $60, or maybe you can wait. Every now and then this game goes on sale. Maybe you can get it for a little bit cheaper, but play one of the Zelda games for the Switch. Please do. Next up, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. This is one of those games that was like on sale at Walmart during their Black Friday sale for like $4. And I was just like, it's $4. So I picked it up. Yeah, maybe I'll play this on the channel at some point if people want to see it. Either way, it's on the shelf. It's there. Just letting you know. Now, this is the Resident Evil Origins Collection, which has Resident Evil 0 on the cartridge, and then a download code for Resident Evil from, I think it was a GameCube game, but it's remastered for this. Some of you may remember I played Resident Evil on the channel a few years back. It got kind of annoying to play through, but I got through it, and I had fun with it. Haven't played Resident Evil 0 though. Don't really know much about it, so maybe that's something we can play on the channel too. I heard lots of good things about the wonderful 101 on the Wii U, so when I saw that it was getting a re-release on the Switch, I had to pick it up. Haven't played this yet, but from everything I've seen about it, it looks like a lot of fun, so this will be something that I'm sure I'll play on the channel at some time too. So if you guys want to see me play the wonderful 101 on the channel, let me know in the comments. Now, I think there was a sale when I picked this one up. I think maybe it was half off or something. I can't remember, but I thought I had seen enough people say that this was good, so I wanted to pick it up. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. My introduction to Shulk as a character was through Smash Brothers, so I really wasn't familiar with Xenoblade Chronicles at all, so I wanted to see what his game was all about. I've seen people talk about this and that it's a good series, and I think, if I remember right, like, this faded sticker says it was $60 new, but I want to say there was a sale. Either way, another game. Again, let me know in the comments if you guys would like me to play it, because I have not played it yet. We got another case here, obscured by the GameStop sticker, but here's a really fun game, if I can get it on camera right. Hyrule Warriors, the original one, the definitive edition, though, for the Switch, that comes with all of the characters that were added to the 3DS version of the game. And this game features my favorite design for Impa out of all of them. She looks great in this game. So add this one to your recommendations list for me if you value my opinion at all. Play the Hyrule Warriors. Play the original Hyrule Warriors. I think everybody has at least one GameStop generic case. And this one, if you can see, has Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl printed on it. So yeah, that's what's in here. There were no new copies of this game when it first released, and I really wanted one. And the only copy I could find within the area where I lived, or in the surrounding area, there was like one used copy that they had at a GameStop, and I think it was like $20. I was going to buy the physical release for Nick Brawl 2 until I read that that actually only comes with a digital download code, so all you get from that purchase is just a pretty box. But hey, if you like Smash Brothers and you like having SpongeBob fight Garfield or a Ninja Turtle, play Nick Brawl. Going back to Pokemon with Pokemon Sword. I think this was one of the first few games I started playing on this channel, and I'd even tried to live stream it at first, but that didn't turn out to work so well, so I just started uploading separate videos. This game is where like the gym leaders started to show more personality, and we got to see them doing more than just be a gym leader to give us a badge when we beat them. Although this is also where they killed Mega Evolution in favor of Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing, which didn't even make it to the next generation. It was replaced with Terastallization. It is what it is, but I did enjoy this game for what it was. I pretty much always enjoy a mainline Pokemon game because I just like that style of game. I do wish they would shake things up, though, a little bit more. Here's an unplayed game that I've heard a lot of praise for. Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. I mean, it's got the Ghibli art style that pretty much anybody who watches cartoons loves. I mean, it does look really good. This kind of gives me a Radiata Stories sort of vibe. If anybody remembers that game from the PS2, I played a little bit of that when I've got it somewhere. But I don't know why, but that's what this kind of reminds me of for some reason. But I wanted to pick this up because I'd heard a lot of good things about it. And yet again, another for the to play later list. So if you want me to play it, you gotta let me know. Next up, Final Fantasy XII, a game that I actually did have on the PS2 and started the run in it, and very early I got stuck and could not figure out what to do, so I gave up. I might be wrong, but I seem to remember that Dragon Quest VIII, I believe it was, came with a demo of this game, and you were on the beach, and you killed a few monsters before this gigantic T-Rex boss shows up and you have to fight it. But it's like not turn-based, it's like a real-time fight, and I wasn't expecting that because I had only played Final Fantasy X at that point. But yeah, I've only gotten a small taste of this game, haven't played any of it since the PS2 was a thing, so if you guys would like to see me play it, leave a comment or two. Want to see a dead game? This is another one of those $4 releases that I picked up, and I fired it up once and just, for whatever reason, I just could not come to care about Overwatch. I couldn't vibe with it. I've still not even tried out Overwatch 2, so I don't know. Do you guys think I should give this game another chance, or at least Overwatch 2? I mean, this version is offline. You can't play it anymore. We've already talked about Nickelodeon's attempt to rip off Nintendo's Smash Brothers with Nick All-Star Brawl. Well, before that, They ripped off Mario Kart, Nickelodeon kart racers. This roster has exactly 12 racers on it. This is about as basic of a Mario Kart ripoff as you could possibly get. It's not necessarily bad, but it's very basic. Now, believe it or not, this game is the first of 3 in a series, though it does look like they added far more characters for the next set, and there's actually now a single release of all 3 of the Kart Racers games together. So if you can find that one for a decent price, I would go ahead and just pick up the bundle. Now, I mentioned Dragon Quest VIII earlier, and that is on my list of the top video games of all time, but this one may be right there with it, and I'm talking about, of course, Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age S Definitive Edition. That's a lot of words. Now, I have a few little nitpicks with the story and some of the choices they made, but overall, I think this is a very good game, and aside of like it getting very hard at times because the boss's difficulty jumps through the roof, but honestly though, this cast of characters here, they're a lot of fun. They all have great personalities, and I would put this probably dead even with Dragon Quest VIII. And I love Dragon Quest VIII, so if you've not played this game, regardless of what console it's on, play this game. Big thumbs up from me. Now here's a game that YouTube does not like. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. Now, I want you guys to take a nice, good look at the rating for this game. Do you see it? Do you see the T? It's T for teen. The official rating for the game says that you can be 13 years old and play this game, and there's nothing in here that would be inappropriate for you to see. YouTube apparently disagrees. I think I have 2 different videos that I've uploaded where I was playing this game that YouTube flagged as 18 plus only. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering about the quality of this game though. This is barely a fighting game. Like, I don't even think you have the ability to crouch. The entire appeal of this game is just to see all of these characters in their little costumes. Not to mention, they made Terry Bogard a woman, put him in short shorts, and gave him big boobs. Now, Smash Brothers did get me interested in Fire Emblem, and I thought maybe a good place to really test that out would be Fire Emblem Warriors. Now, this is just the same concept they took with Zelda and turning it into Hyrule Warriors, except this is Fire Emblem. So I haven't played this yet though, but considering that I did really like the first Hyrule Warriors, and Age of Calamity wasn't a bad game either, I think this one could be a lot of fun and may get me interested in branching out further into Fire Emblem afterwards. Now, I kind of have mixed feelings on the next game because I applaud Nintendo for trying to come up with a new idea. It just didn't work very well. ARMS was a very unique game, like this big stretchy long distance fighting game. I mean, it had some pretty good character designs. I mean, the gameplay was just a little wonky to get used to. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this game flopped. And so it was kind of a surprise that they bothered to put Min Min in Smash Brothers later on. But I'm at least glad that this game did get that recognition and was able to have a little bit of a spotlight through Smash. Now, this was a deeply unpopular game. Now, I played this game, I beat this game on the channel, and I didn't hate it, though I do see why some people probably thought it was really bland and just left no impression on them at all. Like, I guess the create a character feature is kind of cute. I mean, it's not a very deep character creator, but, you know, it lets you run around the Sonic world as your own little avatar. If you really like Sonic and you have a Sonic Sona in your mind that you've always wanted to create it, well, here's your chance. For years, people clamored for a new Pokemon Snap game, and the Switch is where we finally got it. I'd always wondered what a potential sequel to Pokemon Snap might look like, and wondered if maybe they could set a day and nighttime feature, or different things where Pokemon only appear sometimes in certain situations so that you can go through the same course multiple times and it's not just the exact same sequence of Pokemon every single time. And overall, they added a lot of those ideas to this, and I think this was a perfectly fine sequel to a game that was probably long overdue. The name is kind of funny though, like just thinking about we need a new Pokemon Snap, and then they literally called it New Pokemon Snap. I'd love to know what some of the other alternate names for this thing could have been. Next up, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. It's the first 3 Spyro games mixed with all new animation, upgraded music, and even new voice acting. I did play the original PS1 version of Spyro on the channel already, so that's why I haven't jumped into this yet, though I really want to. Should I play Spyro 1's remake before I jump into Spyro 2? Or should I just jump directly into Spyro 2 since I beat the classic PS1 Spyro on the channel already, and these are just remakes? Now, I never played the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening, but I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, even though I did get stuck quite a bit. It was definitely weird. Like, this is definitely one of the weirder Zelda games because this entire story takes place inside of the Windfish's dream, so it's not even really happening. I know this is a lot of people's very favorite Zelda game, so I did enjoy having the chance to play this on the channel for you guys a couple of years back. So, I'm also looking forward to Echoes of Wisdom, though, since that seems to be related to this game in some way. Here we've got another game I have not played, but it looked pretty impressive to me. Immortals Phoenix Rising. I'm not really sure what. I just remember seeing the trailer for this game and being really excited about it, and it just looked like something that would be fun to play, so I picked it up, I think, for pretty cheap. I just don't remember what I paid for it. Just another case of a game that I've wanted to play for a while yet and just haven't had the chance. So, throwing it out there yet again. If this is a game you guys would like to see me play, leave that comment. Now, this next game is a little bit awkward because even though I have it for the Switch and I've played it and beaten it, I would highly recommend you go get the Encore Edition on Steam instead. And that is No Straight Roads. When I first saw the trailer for this game, I was really impressed by it. And I was like, that looks like that could be a really fun game. So I picked it up, I played through it, and I have to say that the music in this game is phenomenal. The gameplay for it is a bit on the wonky side and could definitely have been a little bit better, but the character designs all look great. The music is just spectacular and it fits every character so well. I love listening to this soundtrack just all the time. Now, the reason why I would suggest you not buy the Switch version is because it's incomplete. This was supposed to get some DLC, some additional content added to it, but development for the Switch version of that content was canceled and it never released on the Switch. Now, later they released an Encore edition of this game, which comes with even more goodies added than even the original release with that DLC had. Go for the Encore Edition on Steam for PC. Here's another game I picked up cheap just in case I wanted to play it someday. Shining Renaissance Refrain. I have no idea what this game is about. I just know that it was pretty cheap at the time that I picked it up, and it seemed like maybe something that people on YouTube would be interested in seeing me play, so I mostly just picked it up strictly for the content that I could get out of playing it. So would you like to see me play this game? Leave a comment if you do. Now, this game I was really looking forward to, and it kind of was a letdown, even though I don't think it was a bad game. Princess Peach Showtime. When I played this game, it sort of gave me flashbacks to playing Luigi's Mansion for the first time. This feels like Nintendo is trying to experiment with creating a series of games strictly about Peach. I think really that's all they need to do with this is lean a little bit more heavy into the idea of mixing gameplay styles with the costumes, and I think you'd be perfectly fine. You maybe could even reuse most of these costumes if you just shake the gameplay up a little bit. Overall, I would say this game's not going to blow anybody away, but it was still a good time for me. I enjoyed playing it. And last but not least, the final of my physical release games for the Switch. It is the remake of a classic that I never got to play, unfortunately. It is Super Mario RPG. Now, when I was a kid, I remember seeing a magazine that had an article about the original Super Mario RPG in it, and it really looked kind of weird to me at the time. A game where you have Mario, Peach, and Bowser working together with these two random characters that I have no idea who they were even supposed to be. I don't know why, but for some reason I always thought Mallow was Kirby. Anyway, it wasn't all that long ago I played this game on the channel, and I beat it. I did not beat the secret boss. Maybe that's something I could go back and do in the future. But yeah, I would say this was a pretty entertaining game, and it's not the most complex thing in the world, but I had a lot of fun playing it too, which I pretty much have fun playing most of the games that I play. And that is my collection of Nintendo Switch games. What did you guys think? Were there any in there that you've played that were your favorites? Were there any in there that you played that you absolutely despised? And hey, if there are any games out there that I don't have that you guys think that I should add to the collection, let me know in the comments. And that's all I got for you today. Appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, I'm gonna go try to put all of these back up without dropping them all over the floor.
Flashback.
Now, I'm gonna go... Now I did drop them. This is a disaster.